guys, happy Vlogtober day 30. Who's excited for Halloween tomorrow? I sure am. So the other day I swung into my P.O. box and I got a package from one of you guys, and the contents of the package actually sort of inspired the content of today's Vlogtober Day 30 video on tea tree oil. One of my dear friends here sent me, she lives in New Zealand. Look at this picture here she sent me of these kangaroos. How awesome is that? And this is a wallaby here. We certainly don't have these here in the US. So thank you so much. I was so excited to get this. And check this out. She sent me this adorable little koala spoon. How cute is he? I really like this because look how it's shaped. Now that I'm a tea drinker, this is going to be so handy for like lifting out the tea bag without squeezing it for the darker teas. So thank you so much. One of the things that she sent me, so you guys know that I use tea tree oil from Anjou in my toilet bowl. I use it as a cleaning disinfectant. I just take the essential oil and drop it into the toilet bowl water, add a little baking soda, add some white vinegar, and it foams up, and then, you know, I scrub the inside of my toilet bowl, and it actually really does keep the sort of mildewy kind of ring thing around that forms around the toilet bowl. It really does cut down on the formation of that. I've noticed that that occurs. And, you know, I think tea tree oil is what's in that potpourri stuff. So it has a nice odor masking type property as well. So I've really been enjoying it that way. Anyways, she noticed that I use it that way, and she sent me a bottle here of tea tree oil from the Cottage Oil Company. And so this inspired me to get crack-lacking on this video today. She says she uses this to disinfect her countertops in a home cleaning solution. So that's so cool. Thank you so much. And as you can tell, today's video I'm going to be talking about tea tree oil. So the first half of the video I'm going to talk about tea tree oil in skincare and what you should know, as well as what it's been shown to be useful for. Okay, I'm going to give you some objective information essentially about tea tree oil in skincare. And then in the latter half of the video, I'm going to review as a consumer my subjective experience, meaning sort of my own all the feels, how do I like it experience, that is my personal bias for the SKINFOODS Tea Tree Fresh Cleansing Foam, that the kind folks at Beauty Sesh sent me in that little sweet care package. Speaking of Beauty Sesh, who's excited for the giveaway? You got till around November 7th to hear who wins, but we pick them tomorrow. Yeah, so this tea tree fresh cleansing foam you guys wanted me to review for you all, so I'll share with you guys my consumer experience with this and what I think about it after I give you all some objective information. So tea tree oil, of course, is an essential oil. Essential oils are distilled from kind of vegetable and plant material, and they contain a variety of different compounds, okay? Alcohols, aldehydes, terpenes, as well as ketones. I had to write all these down. Phenols, I think I mentioned esters and ethers, okay? And, they're of interest in not only skincare, but in kind of alternative medicine in general, because those containing terpenes have actually been shown to be antimicrobial, meaning they help cut down on pests, if you will, as well as have antihistamine-like properties and be soothing and anti-inflammatory. So they're of interest in that regard. For the most part, essential oils are present in skincare as fragrance. Okay, they derivatives of essential oils and essential oil components are present in both natural and synthetic fragrances. So, for example, one one essential oil component is something called D-limonene that's present in tea tree oil, and it is essentially it is one of the components in synthetic fragrance. And you know, if the product says it's got natural fragrance in it and it happens to have tea tree oil in it, it's, you know, kind of taking advantage of the limonene there to have the fragrance, okay, that your nose will recognize and enjoy. So, you know, they're pretty pervasive in cosmetics, in shampoos, as well as, you know, many detergents. And unfortunately, however, there's a high rate of development of allergies to essential oils that come in contact with the skin. It's actually pretty problematic. But tea tree oil is an essential oil derived from the leaves and branches of the Melaleuca shrub, which is indigenous to New South Wales and Queensland. It contains over 100 different compounds, and those compounds and their relative abundance vary substantially from tea tree batch to tea tree batch. It has to do with, you know, things like the particular climate, the day of the, you know, the season that the tea tree plant was, you know, harvested, and, you know, the oils. I mean, so many things go into play here. There's just a high amount of variability in the relative kind of abundance of those 100 plus compounds. But at the end of the day, you know, don't fool yourself into thinking that tea tree oil is some pure substance. It's not. It's a mixed bag. It has a lot of stuff going on in there, okay? And so, you know, there's variability, essentially, is what I'm telling you, between tea tree, you know, one batch of tea tree oil from the next. But tea tree oil is popular in a lot of skincare products, mouthwashes, shampoos, rinses, cleaning products, because it contains a high amount, it contains something called terpenes, which, as I mentioned before, are antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. So it's thought to be helpful by virtue of that. The majority of tea tree oil is most abundant in both terpenes and alcohol. So, you know, it's funny, people are always like terrified about alcohol in skincare products. And I tell you guys, alcohol is frequently added to like sunscreens, for example, to stabilize the active ingredient. And it's not present in the kind of abundance that's going to damage your skin. But people neglect to tell you that tea tree oil actually contains alcohol, and you know, natural alcohol is natural, and tea tree oil has alcohols in it. People never tell you that, honestly. Obviously, alcohol in abundance in a skincare product is drying, like in toners, but you know, a small amount to stabilize an ingredient is not harmful. But anyways, alcohol aside, the two most important, so I said terpenes are present in tea tree oil. The two most important ones that you should be aware of, and you don't have to remember the names because they're never going to list them on anything, and I mean, unless you're just into chemistry. But one terpene that it contains that's thought to impart its beneficial properties, which I will discuss in a moment, is one called, I have to read this because you know, I'm not a chemist. Terpinen, Terpinen -4-all. Okay, that's just a type of terpene. All right, and this particular component has very, very strong anti-inflammatory properties and very, very strong antimicrobial properties: antifungal, antibacterial, anti-yeast. Probably explains why, since I've started using the Anjou tea tree oil in my toilet bowl, I've got a cleaner toilet bowl, if you will. I know, TMI, but hey, it's fun to learn science. But then the other one that you should be aware of is one called 1,8 Seniol, okay? And the reason I say this is that it is, you know, pretty abundant in there, and it's the one that is most problematic as far as being an allergen. It has no real benefit. It's just the bad actor. It's a bad actor in tea tree oil, and it's pretty abundant in tea tree oil. Like if you just go out and start distilling your own from, you know, a shrub and trying to DIY this, then, you know, it's quite abundant in that. And it's not only allergenic, but it's, you know, also highly irritating. The commercial preparations, I believe, try and eliminate it. But what we know is that the longer the tea tree oil is stored, the relative abundance of the good terpene that I just mentioned and the bad terpene, if you will, kind of like the good witch and the bad witch, the bad one starts to become more abundant and the good one less so. Basically, the tea tree oil oxidizes with time and light exposure, and the bad guy, the bad actor, hangs around and becomes far, far more problematic. Other things in tea tree oil, you know, some of the other compounds begin to oxidize, and, you know, the human immune system goes, what the heck is this? And just simply does not like this particular antigen, okay? It's just offensive to humans, for lack of a better descriptor, okay? And so you should know that if you're using tea tree oil either from for cleaning purposes in your home or, you know, in skincare, that you should make sure you replace it episodically. You know, don't keep it forever. Make sure it is stored in an opaque container so that light cannot get in, sort of like this. And I'm really jazzed about the packaging here on the SKINFOODS one being opaque, okay? Kind of like perfume. Have you ever sprayed an oxidized perfume on or smelled somebody who has those on? It's just like, Chanel number -0, please. Like, get that off. It smells terrible. So essential oils, because they are basically fragrance, you know, that's what happens to them. They can become oxidized and highly problematic and offensive to you. So be aware of that. All right, specifically with regards to tea tree oil, what bad things can happen to you? Well, probably the most pervasive one that, you know, at least in the compartment I function in dermatology, that, you know, I'm constantly being reminded of, is allergic contact dermatitis, okay? Basically, your skin, you know, putting tea tree oil on the skin or tea tree oil components coming in contact with the skin over time, your immune system can go, I don't like this, get it off, and you can start developing rashes to it. It's actually fairly common with tea tree oil, and where it's going to be most problematic and who it's going to, the situations where it is a higher risk are when the ingredient is applied to open skin, so like a wound, for example, as opposed to intact skin. How thick or thin the skin is that you are applying it to. So the skin on the bottoms of our feet, the top layer, is like super thick and crusty, right? But the skin around our eyelids is so stinking thin that if you're putting it there, I mean, that's kind of a recipe for disaster. One of the other things is the concentration. So you never want to put 100% pure tea tree oil on your skin. Regardless of who you are, it can cause such a severe irritating reaction. It's almost like a burn, okay? And, you know, you can also obviously develop an allergy to it. And then the other batch of folks who, you know, this could be really problematic for are those individuals with a history of eczema, okay, or atopic dermatitis. They are primed to develop skincare allergies more so than non-atopic dermatitis people, because their immune system's always trying to deal with their eczema, and, you know, it's looking out a lot more than, you know, the non-eczema person, okay? The other people who should avoid tea tree oil are people who are already allergic to or sensitive to fragrance, okay? Because tea tree oil basically is like fragrance, okay? So those people should, you know, probably avoid it altogether. People with rosacea as well, you know, fragrancy kind of things, essential oil kind of things, problematic. Just avoid it, honestly. However, you know, so those little points aside, this can happen in anybody at any concentration, okay? So it's not foolproof, not to be duped into thinking that, oh, tea tree oil comes from a plant, it's all natural and organic and cruelty-free. Yeah, it can cause a heck of a lot of problems for you. Be aware of that. It is not foolproof, okay? Not all things that are natural are safe and or effective. All right, so speaking of effective, I told you all these horrible things that can occur with tea tree oil. What the heck good can happen? Like, why do people want this? Why do people like it? Why do people feel warm and fuzzy on the inside using tea tree oil? Well, there is actually quite a bit of evidence for various skin conditions that tea tree oil is actually helpful, okay? Probably by virtue of the fact that it's got that good terpene in it, the good witch, you know, that is anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, if you will, as far as utility, is as an antimicrobial, okay? Specifically, a 5% tea tree oil gel was shown to be very effective when applied to the skin at removing pathogenic strains of staphylococcal bacteria, okay? So specifically one called MRSA or MRSA or methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. This can cause skin problems for people, particularly people, you know, it can oftentimes be a problem in people who have been in and out of the hospital. Their skin gets kind of colonized with it, and it can just be a real bugaboo for things. It can be very hard to treat with antibiotics. So a 5% tea tree oil gel, I believe, was shown to be effective at removing this from the skin, which is fantastic. What was cool about the tea tree oil in these studies is that the bacteria actually did not become resistant to it. So it suggests, you know, an alternative approach for treating skin infections without the risk of resistance, okay? So that's great. It's also been shown and, you know, is present in mouthwashes, tea tree oil mouth rinses. Because of its antimicrobial properties, it can cut down on some of the bacteria in our mouth that lead to plaque and gingival disease. So that's great, okay, in that regard. And then probably the one that we see it come up for as being useful the most is acne, okay? Probably by virtue of both its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. 5% tea tree oil gel, okay, was shown to be as effective at clearing up lesions and improving lesions of acne as 5% benzoyl peroxide gel, okay? The difference between the 5% tea tree oil group and the 5% benzoyl peroxide group was the duration of time it took to get to the clearance point, okay? So it takes a little bit longer with tea tree oil. However, the other difference that you would probably be jazzed about is that the tea tree oil is seemed to be less irritating than benzoyl peroxide. The other skin condition that you might be jazzed to learn tea tree oil is effective for is something called seborrheic dermatitis, which is in the family of things like dandruff. So it's helpful for dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis, a rash that occurs on the face, kind of as scaly, kind of greasy patches sometimes in some people, around the nose. It can be really, really problematic to treat. Both dandruff and this condition, seborrheic dermatitis. I have Q&As, by the way, on both of those conditions. So if you're like, oh, please do a Q&A on that, I got you. I already got those. So they're in the description box down below if you're interested in learning all about those. But that aside, tea tree oil has been shown to be effective for both of those conditions because both of those conditions are thought to result from one of the little fungi that kind of, or yeast, excuse me, that live on our skin naturally. It's called Malassezia. I mean, everybody's got him. There's no reason to try and remove him permanently. You won't succeed, and he actually is helpful. However, he's also thought to kind of kick off and play a major role in dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis. And the fact that tea tree oil has anti-yeast properties, it's thought that is helpful for dandruff, and there's actually some good evidence for tea tree oil shampoos as anti-dandruff shampoos as well as for seborrheic dermatitis. So those are all the things that tea tree oil has been shown to be helpful and good for. Be aware it's not perfect. Just because it's natural doesn't mean that there aren't risks associated with it. Now getting into my subjective review of the SKINFOOD Fresh Cleansing Foam. I really enjoy SKINFOOD, the brand, by the way, as a Korean skincare line. I enjoyed all of their face masks. As far as a cosmetic kind of skincare-y type thing, they pretty much all have fragrance, this product included, as well as all the masks. But they don't have a whole lot of other garbage going on, and they're pretty benign, and they're kind of fun, and they seem to be good, and a lot of you all like them. So I was excited to try this out. And you know how I used it. So first of all, I really liked it, okay? It smells exactly like tea tree oil. Tea tree oil has kind of a distinctive fragrance, and you know, it smells like my toilet bowl now. But it also, you know, any product that contains this, I find, has this odor, but I really like this one. It's very, here it is, a little squeezing here. Comes out creamy, gotta deal with that. And I found it very nice, very, you know, not drying, not irritating, and I really liked it. I would not put it around my eyes if I were you. You might find it stings there, but overall, you know, it's great. It's moisturizing. I wouldn't classify it as like hydrating per se, but for a face wash, it's not super drying, which I liked. I have used the Body Shop's tea tree oil line products before, both their shampoo as well as they have a tea tree oil body wash and they have a tea tree oil face wash. I didn't care for those. Personally, as a consumer, I found them drying, and I didn't find that the shampoo, like, was fantastic, okay? I know they're cruelty-free, and that appeals to many people. Great. I don't have dandruff, so maybe the shampoo is great for dandruff. I have no idea. But that was just my experience with that. I probably used the Body Shop tea tree oil products maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. So if they've changed at all, you know, I have no clue, but overall they're fine. I like this face wash better because it is creamy, it is gentle, and I just enjoyed it as a consumer. How I envision myself using this up, I think knowing what I've told you guys about how it's comparable to benzoyl peroxide as far as clearing the lesions of acne, I'm just out of my Panoxyl benzoyl peroxide creamy wash that I use on my body after the gym to cut down on breakouts on the body. I will probably use this up in those places prior to my purchase of the next Panoxyl. I would probably I personally would purchase this. You know, it was sent to me by Beauty Sesh. I didn't buy it. It's not expensive. The SKINFOODS brand is pretty affordable. But yeah, I really like it overall and definitely would recommend it to you guys. It's fantastic, and I'm very grateful for Beauty Sesh to sending it to me because otherwise I don't know that I would have thought to ever try it. So thank you very much. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the tea tree oil info and review. Comment below on if you use tea tree oil, how you use it, and what product you use. I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.